Alright, let's have another crack at this one, shall we? So, again, if you saw in the last video, I want to lower my AE86. However, it is a bit of a dick, and I don't have the necessary things to do it legitimately the way I want to. And that costs money, which I don't have right now. So, I did get some springs. I tried to put one in the front. Doesn't look very good, didn't lower it very much. So what we're going to do, so we're going to take the ones out of here and we're going to cut them. Not my favourite way of doing things, but yeah, this is my budget, so I've decided I'm going to start from the rear this time, because y'all have, well, if you've seen the last video, y'all have already seen me do the front at least once. So if I do the rear, that way you get an idea of what that looks like, and then I'll swap the front out and do some cutty and see what it looks like once I've done that. But yeah, the rear is harder and easier. So it's easier in the respect that I don't have all the extra stuff to take off while I'm doing it. However, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass, because I've got to put jack stands on either side of the car, and I can't put it under where the diff is and all that sort of stuff, because I've got to be able to drop the diff down a little bit so I can get to it. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but we can get it done. So yeah. Alright, and what I mean by the rear is a bit of a pain in the ass, and I'll show you this so you can see. But that is heaps in the air, right? The body of this car is on those jack stands. Now, when we let this down, those wheels are now on the ground. So this diff comes down heaps, which is a proper pain in the ass. So we'll have to get this even further up in the air and have another crack. Alright, now hypothetically, I should just be able to take that nut off, pop this shock absorber off, and that should drop down, and I should be able to get that spring out of there. However, sometimes it can be a pain in the ass, and you have to stand on the diff and fucking pull it out and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see how we go. Alright, so we have our nut off the back. Let's put the pry bar in there and see if we can't just whoop. A little bit of droop, but not very much. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to put some pressure on that to get that to pop out, because that doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Alright, and with a bit of persuasion, we have managed to get it out the back there. So whew. Now we're just going to cut this thing. Now I'm thinking we'll just cut it there, because that's yeah, about there. I think that still leaves us with that. So we'll just cut it in line with that and chuck it in there, and so we go with it. You know I'm getting old, because I don't want to have to listen to that grinder ringing in my ear for 4 hours after I'm done with this, but it is what it is. Now we've got ourselves set up here. I'm just going to cut it there, and yeah, we'll see what the end result looks like. Alrighty, that's one spring cut. So chuck that back in the car. Might lower it down, see how it looks, and then we'll do the other side. Actually, I just realised if I jack it up off the diff, you can sort of see what I'm working with here. So that's jacked up. That's the sort of height we're running at. I might try and put it on the ground anyway, just to see how it rolls, how it looks, but I think it's angled like a bit more cambered in, simply because the other side isn't as high, so you end up with this cambered profile on it. But that should sit pretty fucking neat there, so I might drop that down and see how it looks. Alright, so the jack will still come out from underneath the diff. That's what we're working with now. Now remember, these are 13s, so that is kind of low. Like overall, that is kind of low. Once we do the other side, it should look even better. So yeah, Not seeing so much of that camber on that profile now though. But yeah, it's looking much better. Alright, other side is out. Let's repeat the cut. Get it up in there. Alright, cut replicated. Let's get it back in there now. Alright, so wheel is back on there. Now one of the things I do know from experience with these cars is I'm going to need to put something under those wheels, because I'm not going to be able to get that jack out from underneath the diff from where it's sitting. So I need to put some like blocks or some wood under there so I can roll it off of there. Alright, we are back on solid ground. Look at that. Nice height there. But you'll sort of notice that it's definitely still higher in the front. So yeah, gonna have to pull that front apart again and possibly cut that one, and definitely sort the other one. Need to get that spring in there and just cut one off of it this time instead of two, because they are a little bit lower. So if I cut one off of it, I should be a bit better off. So yeah, I'll see how I feel about that one. But I suppose we should start pulling it apart then, huh? Alright, car is now turned around, up in the air. Let's get this driver's side done. Alright, so cut just a little over one thing off, obviously being the bottom one. It's closer together anyway, just to see how this sits. I can always take more off, but I can't add more back on. So I'm going to lower it down now and see how we feel about it. And I'll see there's a gap. Slowly but surely decline. There we go. Yeah, look, I would say go lower, but I just had that bottoming out, so until I get new shocks, probably not. But that body line is pretty straight, so I think that's fairly solid. I might have to remove the bump stops, but I probably won't. I'll just leave them in there, they'll be fine. So I think that's pretty solid. You can see the body line, so it ever so slightly tilts down like it's supposed to in the front of these, but yeah, there we go. So I might jack up the other side, change that one out, do the same thing. So our gap here should be not even 2 fingers, like 1, which is just about perfect. What would be nice is if these were about say about 5 or 10 mil wider. I might be able to get a spacer, but I really don't need bolt-ons, and they look alright as is. Like, they're not super in the guard, they're not super out the guard, but if I got camber tops, I'd be able to run an extra 15-25 mil and camber them in. So, but they are running pretty well straight top down, so there's a little bit of camber there, as you can see. So might call it there. So I'll get onto that other side, get that sorted. But I think the next you'll see that I'll have it out the front, and we'll do a quick little on the ground and a comparison to the old one, so, or the old height anyway. So yeah, kind of happy with that. That's much better. That makes me feel much better about it anyway. But those shocks are still fucked. So front and rear. I can get short stroke shocks for the rear of it. For the front, there's basically nothing available, period. So I'm shit out of luck there. So until I go coilovers, this is where I sit, I guess. Yeah. So fun and choice.